Welcome to Titans Fanatic. I'm Nick. In this week's episode, I'm going to cover a few things that's burning in Titans Nation. Like, is this Coach Vradel's last week as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans? With a loss, it may be. Also, why are people already jumping off WIll Levis' bus already so early? And then I'll cover my thoughts about the Panthers game. Stay tuned.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me.
Touchdown! Titans!
So what do you guys think? Is Coach Vradel on the hot seat? I think there's a possibility he could be. I don't think it's necessarily like some people are talking at the end of this week, but by the end of the season, I think if he doesn't make some changes or maybe if there's not some sound plan in place, there could be a change made. I think that the reason why I say that is because I think that Coach Vradel, I think that he's a really good coach. So don't get me wrong. I think he's a coach that is like one of those kind of coaches that is old school. Like he could take a really good team and make them even better. Take a seasoned, a veteran team and move them into maybe a playoff contender, Super Bowl contender. I don't really think that he's one of those type of, let's say, a young developmental young team where he's got to play with a lot of rookies. Now, he's played with a lot of guys that's had a lot of injuries, not the most talented, but those were guys he just had to make miracles happen with. I'm talking about like young guys they got to find talent and build from. I don't think he's that type of coach, and I don't think he's been in those type of environments when he was a player. He was in New England, he's in Kansas City, he was in Pittsburgh, and for the majority of those times, those teams were pretty good teams. I mean, I don't have like the statistics, but I mean they won quite a bit of Super Bowls when he was there in New England, and if I can remember correctly, they were pretty competitive teams there in both KC and Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I'm not saying he can't do it. I just think he's more of like a Bill Belichick. He's going to make a great team, a good team great. Make a okay team good. I don't think he's going to make a bad team great. You see what I'm saying? Or be able to develop guys. Is more what I guess my point is. So I think in time he may be on a hot seat, but I don't know if he's there yet. But by the end of the season, he may take off to New England. I mean, there was thoughts of him flirting with going to Ohio State last year or sometime, and he might go on to New England if Bill Belichick leaves, so you never know. Let's start talking about the next subject, which is why people are jumping off the Will Levis's bandwagon so fast already. All right, guys. So I made this fancy Ryan Tannehill 2019 versus Will Levis's stats this year. Of course, I don't really know what I'm doing yet. I'm in the way. You're going to have to take my word for it. But, I mean, as you can see, Ryan Tannehill, some of his stats when he took over in 2019 over Marcus Mariota, I did not count the half game or part of the game that he played in Denver. So if anybody watches this and says, hey, you didn't count the Denver game, I only counted the games he started, not the games he came in and took over. So those are the games he started. Like if you were to look at these statistically, and I didn't do like rush yards, rushing touchdowns because Tannehill was a much better rusher then, and I think Levis has been a little bit hesitant on maybe using his legs so much. I think he's trying to pass a little more. He don't want to be known as that guy that runs, which I think he needs to utilize a little more. But either or, I wasn't such a smart cookie and then put the totals in. But if you were to put in the totals, if you were to take both of these things that I'm in the way of, both of the the stats. Here, let me see here. If I can figure out what I'm doing over here. His stats are. I'll just read you Will Levis's stats that you probably can't read. So his Tampa Bay stats were 199 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 sacks, 1 interception with a 53.3 quarterback rating. His Jacksonville statistics were 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 sacks, 0 interceptions with 143 rating. He got a high rating. He had a lot of big plays. He also had a lot of big chunk plays towards the end of the game. The start of the game was not very good, but you got to be encouraged. The kid didn't give up. So, but my big thing is that if you take all the totals of the stuff that I didn't put in there together, whatever I'm trying to point at here, guys, is that Ryan Tannehill's total numbers were 1,016 yards versus Will Levis's 857 yards. There's 8 touchdowns for Ryan Tannehill versus 6 touchdowns for Will Levis. You got 13 sacks versus 12 sacks for Tannehill's 13. Levis is 12. Tannehill's got 3 interceptions. Levis has 2. Tannehill has a little bit better overall rating of 111.52, and Levis has a 98.38 in that span. But at the same time, you have to think about this, guys. Ryan Tannehill at this point, even though he did get traded from Miami to Tennessee, was a 6-year veteran. So it's not like he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, this kid, and I have some other stuff, I'm kind of all over the place, but I had some other stuff. I looked up how good the offensive line was. The offensive line in 2019 was ranked 4th in the league at the end of the year by PFF. I can show you. I'll show you right now if I can find a thing. You can't see that because that's teeny tiny. But either or, how to make this bigger? Who knows? Okay. So either or, this is Music City Miracle. I'm not going to read it to you. I got a Kentucky education. I can't hardly read. So there you go. But if you look at it, if you want to go back and look it up, in PFF, and some people love PFF statistics, some people don't, the analytics, but somebody still ranked them 4th in the NFL in 2019. Okay? 4th. We can all argue where the offensive line is right now. Is nowhere near 4th. Okay, so I went up and I tried to find without having to pay money because I'll be broke. Anyway, either or. My thing is, I tried to look it up and I found a website. I can't remember what it is. And if you guys want to look it up, or you guys want to, if anybody watches this in comments, halfway through the year, Tennessee's offensive line was in the bottom 4 or 5 in halfway through the year. And I don't think that they've played any better to make themselves any better than that. So they're still probably in the top, the top 5 of the worst, if you want to put it that way, offensive lines in the NFL right now. So you got a rookie quarterback playing similar numbers to a 6-year veteran who took us to the playoffs. And granted, Ryan Tannehill didn't play great in the playoffs, but still took us there. And people are already trying to jump off the bus. I mean, the kid don't have nothing but a shell of Derrick Henry, and I hate to say that because I love Derrick Henry. And Nuke Hopkins, who's out there playing the best he can, and all the other players who are supposed to show up. Burks isn't out there. He's hurt or he's not contributing. Chiggs disappeared. Spears is playing pretty good, but still the offensive line isn't blocking nobody. And I think he's doing as good of a job as anybody else. If you gave him a good offensive line, I wouldn't say maybe he's doing C.J. Stroud numbers, but he's probably doing pretty decent. Maybe he would be doing better in that 4-game stretch. I don't know, but I would think he would be doing a lot better. That's just me. But anyway, I'll go ahead. Like, wow, I've already opened this can. See, I'm not getting off the Will Levis bus yet, but I'm going to be open and honest to you. I wasn't a big fan of his coming out in the draft last year. I wasn't really a huge. I like Stroud. I was okay with Levis. I didn't think we would probably get him. I didn't. I wasn't a big fan of too many of the quarterbacks, to be honest with you. So I was okay with keeping Tannehill, even though he's cost an arm and a leg for one more year. But, we got Levis, and hey, I don't think he's that bad. But my big thing is, I think the kid's going to be okay if we can get him an offensive line somehow next year and some playmakers that want to show up besides Hopkins. So, but the big thing is, we got to have a nickname. So I want you guys, if you would, write me back and tell me what you want his nickname to be. I'm going to share with you some of the ideas I had for nicknames, okay, real quick. And I'll get back to this week's game. Okay. So we got Billy Guns, because he's got big arms. We got your boy Mayo Ocho. Mayo Ocho. I'm on the way. Maybe I'll just make myself disappear for a second. Let me figure this out. Mayo Ocho. You got the Mayo Messiah. Is he our Savior? Could be. I hope. Because I don't want to go through a 5 to 10 year road of trying to find another quarterback. I don't want to go through more Rusty Smiths and Zach Mettenbergers. And even though I like Vince Young, you got to have the right coaches. You got to have the right players. I like Mariota. People gave up on him too quick. I don't want to go through another rebuild with a quarterback. If we caught one without expecting it, let's be thankful, guys. Let's go ahead and say build around this guy. See what he's got. Don't give up on him too quick. So it is. Okay, the thoughts on this week's game. Sorry, I got a little cold. So, really, the biggest thing is coming out of this week is it's rookie versus rookie. Bryce Young versus Will Levis. Who's going to come out better? I didn't look at the statistics, but if I remember correctly, I think Bryce Young played better than C.J. Stroud whenever they played. So can Will Levis play better than Bryce Young this week? I don't know. He might ball out like he did against Atlanta. I don't. Carolina's defense isn't terrible. It just kind of has to show up when it wants to, type of thing. You got, does the Titans want to show up? Stop him, maybe? Maybe play some defense. Maybe stop a pass or two down the field. What about, do we continue the undefeated streak at home? We are, besides the London game, we are undefeated at home this year, 3-0. Every game we won at home were, if I remember correctly, tell me if I'm wrong, blowouts. We either or pretty significant wins. Like, we look like a different team just showed up and ta-da, we just took a win from a team and didn't expect it, and then went on the road and lost like chumps. But also, are we going to put any guys out there to develop? See what we got out there. I know I love King Henry. I hope he stays around for a few more years, retires as a Titan. But it'd be nice to see a little bit more touches for Spears. Even get Dow or that 7th round pick that they had. I think it's Colton Dowell. See if he can catch the ball. They took him in the 7th round to see what they can do. Try the tackle out that they had last week. Just see if any of the young players are going to develop, they're going to stick. See what we don't have to pick up in the offseason. I know we're going to have a lot of money. We don't have a lot of draft capital right now, so we're going to have to spend a lot of that money unless they make some maneuvers. Overall, my final projection for this game is the Titans do win, but it will not be in a blowout. It'll be a 24-17 win over the Panthers. Probably, well, maybe not. Titans always seem to win one game they shouldn't win. It's every year. And it'll probably get them out of the top 5, which we really need to be in the top 5. And I'll go over that in my next video with some draft stuff. But they really need to stay within the top 5 or 6 to get an offensive tackle. I'll go over that. Not a wide receiver. Even if Marvin Harrison falls, let him go. I'll tell you why. Catch me next on my next video. Thanks for watching this long. Thanks. If you like it, well, what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, all that other stuff. Give me a comment. Tell me I'm doing horrible. Tell me what to fix. Appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.